Hey there lovely people, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Anna, and today I'm excited to introduce you to our easy budget template. This template is all about simplicity, yet it's packed with features that make budgeting easier and more effective. It has only one main tab, aside from the instructions tab, so it's super user friendly. But before we dive into the details of the template, let's talk about the protection we've built in. Since the template contains many formulas and formats, we've protected it to prevent any accidental changes. The only cells you can edit are those left unprotected. If you ever see a warning message, don't ignore it unless you're sure your changes won't affect the template's functionality. And if you're comfortable with spreadsheets and formulas, you can always customize the template further by unprotecting it. Now, let's explore the features of this template. Always start with the Instructions tab. Here, you'll find detailed guidance for how each section of the template works. Once you're familiar with the instructions, you can move on the main tab. You might notice there are actually two tabs, one called Budget and another one called Use it for fresh copy only. Let me explain why that is. The Budget tab is where you'll do your budgeting. The Use it for fresh copy only tab is an extra, clean version of the budget, so you don't have to worry about duplicating the one you're working on, which might already have your entries in it. If you ever need a fresh start or make a mistake with formulas, you can use the Extra tab to create a clean copy. It's also useful if you want to keep separate records for each budget period. Just duplicate the fresh copy, rename it, and start your new budget. Now that we've covered that, let's dive into how the template works. Let's begin with the Setup section. First, set the date range. For example, let's enter 1st of October till the end of the month. Next, choose your currency symbol. The default is set to dollars, but you can change it to whatever you prefer. Then, enter any previous balance you'd like to include in your budget. Let's say $1,000 for this example. There's also an option to allocate your budget by percentage. If you select this checkbox, you can decide how much of your income goes to expenses, savings, bills or debts. For instance, I'll allocate 30% to expenses, 20% to savings, 40% to bills, and 10% to debts. Based on this, the template will automatically calculate how much I can allocate to each category according to my income. Now, let's go ahead and enter some data. In the income section, I'll create categories for my income sources: salary, rentals, and freelance. Then, I'll add payday dates. These are just for reference and won't affect the calculations. Next, I'll project how much I expect to earn from each source. Let's say $3,400 from my salary, $1,200 from my rentals, $600 from freelance work. This gives me a total projected income of $5,200 for October. Moving on to the expenses section, I'll create a category for groceries and set a budget of $200. Then, I'll add a dining out category with a budget of $100 and continue adding more categories as needed. You'll notice that since I've allocated 30% of my income to expenses, the template will guide me to make sure I stay within that limit. If I under or over budget for a category, the template will show me how much I have left to allocate up here. You can choose to leave the budget allocation option unchecked if you prefer more flexibility. In that case, the template won't guide you on specific percentages, and you'll have the freedom to allocate your income wherever you want. So it's time to enter your actual transactions. For example, on October 6th, I spent $60 on groceries. On October 7th, I paid $14.99 for Netflix. Then, on October 10th, I spent another $80 on groceries. Now, if I go back to the expenses section and look at the groceries category, the template will show that I spent $140 of my $200 budget. So, I'm at 70% of the category's limit. Let's make a few more entries now for my actual transaction. So, the main functionality that you have to keep in mind is that once you've budgeted for each category, you simply record your transactions as they happen. It's as easy as that. Now, let's look at some of the summary features the template provides. At the top, you'll see a summary bar that shows your actual income, expenses, and the rest types and how close you are to the budget. For instance, if my actual income is $5,050 and my expenses are $1,781, then template will show you that I've spent 35.3% of my income. And it will also indicate how much over or under your budget I am. In my case, I'm 221, which is 14% of my projection. And that's because, as you can see, I've made more expenses than I've budgeted. So that's how the summary bar works. There's also a cash flow chart and 2 pie charts that break down your spending and income, so you can visually track your progress. You can toggle between viewing your budget cash flow and your actual cash flow, depending on what you want to focus on. On the right side, there's a cash flow board and of course the check boxes for each category. These are extra tools to help you manage your budget more effectively. And that's everything you need to know about the Easy Budget template. Feel free to experiment with different budgets and percentages to create the perfect budget that fits your needs and goals. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like the video and subscribe for more valuable content. Until our next adventure, have a fantastic day.